Afternoon, everyone. Just conferring with Mrs. Milne there as Assistant Head Academics. It is that time of year where we have some provincial exams, and for those students who are taking them, can I just emphasize the gravity of those exams and to make sure you revise hard, prepare well, and succeed in those exams. It might mean some grade 12s end up being grade 13s here if you don't end up performing at a certain level. So, and the rest of you who don't have provincial exams, Ashley, do you want to stay another year here? I can see it in your eyes. For those of you who don't, please just be considerate that there are orals and other written exams going on in the next 10 days here at the school. So in-house, be mindful of that. And for those sitting the exams, absolutely prepare your best. And do yourself proud and do your teachers proud as well in those. I found myself walking down the corridor past Mrs. Samuel's office a couple of days ago and found myself humming the hymn we're going to sing today. And of course, it was a hymn that she detected was a Welsh hymn, and you're thinking it's Callan Lan? No, it's not. And she jumped out, waving her hands excitedly that I was humming it, and a few students looked a bit bemused as I carried on humming it. And it's going to be number 12, Guide Me Out, O Thou Great Jehovah. Let's go for it. Well done, please be seated. And well done for those of you who have the courage to sing the refrain when it repeats, feed me till I want no more, and that opportunity to do the want no more. It is a little courageous and unfamiliar territory. I saw a student down here bellowing it out, so that's something in the future we'll want you to do. It's something, if you've ever gone to a game of rugby in Wales, that is sung very, very passionately in the stadiums there. Over to you, MCP.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lyman. Good afternoon, all. Student leadership is what I'd like to spend a bit of time talking about. But before we get into that, table manners at Marion Hall. Some of you have seen your emails today, and there's a few reminders. Right in the middle of those reminders was a little video that the prefects have put together. We'll discuss this, and hopefully we'll reinforce these very, very basic manners as we go throughout the year and for the rest of time. Also, it may give you a little bit of a tip if you're ever eating a banana with a knife and fork.
All right, let's talk about something more interesting than bananas. Are you kidding me?
Okay, Finley, I guess over to you.
Hi there, I'm Finley Hatfield from Ducks.
and today I'm going to briefly talk on behalf of Miss Solzberg's Entrepreneurship 10 class about a project we are very proud to present. But first, I'd like to ask you a few questions. First of which, do you know anybody who collects things? Are you personally a collector? Are you What I'm essentially wondering is, are you the type of person who sits in their mother's basement holding rocks on the windowsill, collecting them and holding them with great pride? Well, if any of those are true, and if the answer is yes to any of those, I feel I've got an extremely viable alternative. A new thing for you to collect, or otherwise a gift for your friends that you love to collect. With the help of the English Fine Art and Socials Business Department, along with a specific contribution from last year's grade 10 English class, I would like to proudly present to you the solution to all of your problems. Shawnigan collectible cards. These cards, to put it lightly, are brilliant. They have a comprehensive and vast accommodation of not only all of the teaching staff in the school currently, but in the past as well, or most of them in the past. And these cards offer students the opportunity to satiate their desire to collect things, while also learning facts about our heroic teachers and staff. With that in mind, I would like to present to you two examples of our Shawnigan cards. First of which, we have a Duxbury favorite, Mrs. Lupton. Let's get a round of applause for Mrs. Lupton. All right, so everybody loves Mrs. Lupton. That's not a surprise. But look, as you can see, this card is formatted just like a Pokemon card. And it has a picture of Mrs. Lupton, a picture of Mrs. Lupton from like 20 years ago. And then it has some information about Mrs. Lupton, like when she was born, which was obviously like, she's only what, 20? And then her birthplace in West Germany, which I actually didn't know she was born in Germany. So these cards can actually teach you a lot about the staff. And then also that she loves journalism and that she loves to write. Also a cool hobby. And she teaches in the Learning Center, which many of you know, and she's certainly very helpful at what she does. Now, there are also some fun facts about Mrs. Lupton, like the fact that she once participated in a high-speed police chase. I didn't know that either. There was also, she also used to, she used to be nicknamed Little B because she used to hum instead of cry. Which is an interesting fact. I don't know why that's on there, but. And then next on the list we have Mr. Coy, or T. Coy. Let's get a round of applause for T. Coy. All right, so Mr. T. Coy. As you can see, he's labeled as the legend. So maybe he's a legend. I don't know. I've never met T. Coy, actually. But he was also born in St. Catharines, Ontario, which is pretty cool because that's where they hold the Nationals Championship. He likes hockey, tennis, squash, reading, and hiking. He spent 4 years at UVic to become a teacher a few years later. He teaches English and AP literature. Some fun facts: he loves to travel to Chile. His favorite teams are the Boston Red Sox and the Chicago Blackhawks. He's the head of Lonsdale's and the head of rowing at the same time, which is pretty cool. It's an achievement. And he always used to say, "Never give up on a student." Okay. So these are pretty cool cards, but they also have a great deal of versatility because you can learn about the teachers at the school, you can trade them, you can sell them if you like, you can mark them up, whatever you want. And they're always sold in the commissary in bundles of 5, and you're guaranteed to get a different card. Basically there are no repeat cards, so all 5 are unique. And yeah, Thank you for, oh wait, one more thing I forgot to mention. These cards are actually, if you collect all 35 of them, because there are 35 different unique cards, there's going to be a very special prize, and let me tell you, it's worth it. But there's more on that later. So anyway, thank you for taking the time to listen and help join Entrepreneur Chen on our quest to invoke one of the school's many mottos: spark minds, kindle hearts. Spark minds, kindle hearts, and forge futures. Help us do so through Shawnigan. Thank you.
Thank you, Finley. Well done. Back to student leadership. We hear a lot about it, don't we? Develop your leadership skills. Here's a leadership opportunity. To individuals, we expect you to step up and lead in this area or the other. Now, I know that some of you, your ears are perking up. Some of you think, while we're talking about these things, well, we're talking to somebody else. If that's you, and you're thinking that, a good chunk of what we're going to be talking about today is directed to you. What do we expect of our student leaders at Shawnigan? It's simple to say. Make a positive difference in the lives of others and work tirelessly to make Shawnigan Lake School a better place. Well, I'm looking forward to spending a little bit of time this afternoon talking with you on my thoughts and thoughts that I've learned on student leadership. You'll be pleased to know that I'm also going to share a few insights that I've picked up from you over the last little while, and we'll hear from some students. So this morning, I spent about 20 minutes walking around Marion Hall, and I asked a few of you, name an effective student leader at Shawnigan at the moment, and explain briefly what enables them, what character traits do they have that enable them to make a positive impact at Shawnigan. I'll go through 7 of them quickly. Ingrid Hopkins. Ingrid, easy to talk to, open, honest, positivity. Emma Bishop, willing to put herself before others. Maya Frankel creates a positive atmosphere for others around her, gets involved in all sorts of areas across the school. Rudy Cindy brings people together, goes out of his way to make younger students feel good about themselves and about their experience at our school. Ty Edson, positive, approachable, present, creates spirit. Max Chong saw a need, academic support, and is doing something about it with his peer tutoring program. Eli McCamey, he's just Eli, people told me. What does that mean? What makes Eli Eli? You ask him and you'll find out. What I'd like to do is to call up a special person to share a few thoughts with us. Now, I've come over 7 years at Shawnigan to accept the fact that there are always people who I'm simply not going to be able to spend enough time with. Anyone who knows this fine young man will agree. He's got it. Invariably positive, consistently humble, fiercely competitive, and as Shawnigan as it gets. Johnny, come and speak with us, please.
Every great speech needs 2 things: a lot of time to prepare, and expert in public speaking. You know, I found out about this speech last night, and I barely speak English. For those who don't know me, my name is Jonathan, but most of you know me as Johnny. This is my 2nd year in Shawnigan, and it is a privilege to be able to attend a school like this, and let alone to have the honor of 2 massive leadership roles in being head of House of Duxbury and captain of the boys hockey team. Along this journey, I have learned a lot from these experiences and the opportunities that they have opened for me. Being a head of House of Duxbury had taught me a lesson about accountability and taking responsibility for your actions. Also, I learned an important lesson about honor. Honor is one of the 4 pillars of Duxbury, and it has taught me that every time you represent our school or your house, it is an honor. I have learned also that not think too highly of myself. As John Templeton said, it is nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. Also, in hockey, I learned some different lessons. The most important thing that I want to share with is that this leadership role taught me that lead by an example and never ask someone to do something that you are not willing to do yourself. Looking back to grade 11, I could have never imagined being given the opportunity to have these leadership roles and having the chance to have a positive influence on my friends. I have learned that being a leader is not about the title. It is about the hard work that comes from your heart and doing things for people, not because of who they are or what they do in return, but because of who you are. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Johnny. I'm interested, Mr. CB. You might be thinking, but what can I do and what's the school going to help me with to develop myself as a leader and or a more effective team player as being part of a team? So last term, our prefects, heads of houses, and the captains of our senior sports teams took part in sessions with the Silicon Valley-based Propel High Performance Group, whose mission is to elevate leadership intelligence around the world, led by a Kiwi, I might add. And in these sessions, we heard about the organization's very simple but sensible model of me, we, go. Me. To lead others, you have to work on yourself. What are your values? What difference do you as an individual want to make? Self-awareness and authenticity, that self-confidence of just being yourself, are such key character traits that effective leaders share, in my opinion. We, once you've worked on yourself, bring others to you. Know, and also at the same time, know when to get in behind something that somebody else is leading on. Form connections, networks, and build teams that challenge you, support you, and help you to work towards something that's bigger than yourself. Someone whose opinions I trust when it comes to students and how students work and student leadership for sure, wrote me the following, which sums up the go part. True leaders desire success for the organization and the people within that organization more than they desire personal recognition or significance. The happy irony is that ambition on behalf of an organization and its people usually leads to further recognition for that leader. True leaders work on behalf of ideas larger than themselves and serve as catalysts for action that improve the community or the organization. Work on yourself, bring others to you, and then go. Work on behalf of something bigger than yourself. It's simple, but it makes sense to me. So, there are so many ways you can develop yourself and take the opportunities of student leadership at Shawnigan. A house leadership role, school prefect, prefect council member, roundtable member, captain of a team, leader of a 360, Stanton or Levine House mentor, peer tutor, and the list goes on. Mr. Plater and Mrs. Hutchins will be leading the hosting of a Grade 8 ISABC Leadership Conference here at Shawnigan in late February. Mr. Plater and Ms. Hamilton will be taking 4 grade 10 and 11 students to an expenses-paid trip to Nova Scotia to take part in the Canadian Accredited Independent Schools Senior Student Leadership Conference in late April. You've all had, if you're in grade 10 or 11, you've had those applications that have been emailed out to you, and the deadline for submissions is tomorrow. What we want to do more and more is for have our students and student leaders to be rubbing shoulders with the most energetic, authentic, and caring student leaders in our country and across the world in order to learn and share with these leaders with the aim of making Shawnigan Lake School better. My final thought is on sweeping the sheds. Never to be too big to do the small things that need to be done. The All Blacks, the New Zealand All Blacks, have a custom where the captain of that rugby team and or the most senior players stay behind after they finish the game and clean up the changing rooms once the rest of the team have left. This is an example of a leader showing their personal discipline and, critically, humility. Leaders not expecting somebody else to do that job for them. It teaches them not to expect things to be handed to them. If this has got you interested, talk to somebody who you know has a student leadership position at Shawnigan now, and they'll tell you that a big part of their role is the equivalent of sweeping the sheds. To round things off, I'd like to hand over to Hannah, who wanted to share some thoughts with us about some leadership lessons that she's learned over the last little while. Hannah, come on up.
Hi, my name is Hannah Frank. I'm from Cloudquit First Nation, and I'm here to speak about leadership. Leadership can mean a lot of different things, like leading a song when in culture, and always being mindful, of how you talk to people and how you represent yourself. And my other real name is Asmanahai, precious one of a hotwith of a hereditary chief. My late dad's name was Moochning. In short, that means power of four chiefs. He upheld his peers and looked after our people. He would get down and under cars on the side of the road to fix people's cars, get his hands dirty, and still go to a wedding after that in his oily pants and everything like that. And he fought for our DFO rights. DFO is Department of Fishing organization. And I just want to say I'm grateful for my parents for what they've taught me, and I'm really grateful for my mom and what she's done for me and let me attend this school. Thank you.
Thanks, Finley, Johnny, Hannah, for your contributions on leadership and great courage there, Hannah, from you to stand up in front of everyone. Johnny, well done for leading your team as well to that trophy at the weekend. Just a couple of little news flashes from me. Tomorrow and on Friday, we do have the heads of the independent schools in British Columbia here for a conference. So let's sparkle and show them what we do here at Shawnigan. They will be on various guided tours, coming to learn about Shawnigan and what our sort of magic ingredient stroke secret sauce are. So just for an awareness, I know Mr. Mays has already announced it, but at 3:15, please let's turn out as a school to support Morgan Jackson as she comes back. This is a Shawnigan first. I don't believe we've had a hockey player playing at under-18 national level. She grew up in Comox Valley, played through the Comox Valley hockey system, and then came to us this term. But I think a fine achievement, so let's mark that Shawnigan first. So leave your classes and be on time at 3:15 to welcome her. And finally, we are going to have one more hymn. I think we've just got time. And it's a hymn that when I was sent away to boarding school between aged 8 and 13, my school was called Twyford, and the local school was called Pilgrims, and this was their school hymn, and we had to sing it sometimes, and we'd always substitute the line "to be a pilgrim" with a line that didn't scan at all poetically, which was "to be a Twyfordian," just in that little Brentwood-Shawnigan, Twyford Pilgrims rivalry. So I always think of that when I sing this hymn. It's number 18, "He who would valiant be." Let's pump it out. Thank you. Some great messaging there. Though he with giants fight, and I fear not what men say. Have a great week. Let's see you all out at 3:15. I'd like to let the staff get ahead and get to class so we can have a prompt start in 10 minutes' time, and then I'll release the rest of you. And MCB, who's staying behind to do the honors? Thank you. Ava, do you want to take over? Grade 12s.